6 months after the Zephyrian fleet disappeared, President Daniel Hayes walked into the largest meeting room he had ever seen. The Galactic Council chamber was enormous, with seats for representatives from over 200 different alien species. For the first time in human history, Earth had been invited to join this important gathering. The room fell silent as President Hayes entered. Aliens of all shapes and sizes turned to look at the human leader. Some had multiple eyes, others had scales or fur, and a few looked almost like humans but with different colored skin. They all stared at him with a mixture of curiosity, respect, and fear. Commander Lisa Baker walked beside the president, carrying Earth's diplomatic documents. She had spent months preparing for this moment, learning about different alien cultures and their customs. She felt proud, but also nervous about representing all of humanity. The council leader, tall alien with silver skin and 4 arms, stood up to address the gathering. Today we welcome Earth and the human species to the Galactic Council. After the recent events in their solar system, it is clear that humans deserve a place among the galactic powers. President Hayes was given a seat near the front of the chamber in a section reserved for the most important species. 6 months ago, humans had been considered a minor species that barely deserved attention. Now they sat with the same status as civilizations that had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. During the first break in the meeting, several alien representatives approached President Hayes. A large, bear-like creature introduced himself as Ambassador Growth from the Ursine Federation. "Your people have made quite an impression on the galaxy," Ambassador Groth said in a deep, rumbling voice. "We have heard the reports about the missing Zephyrian fleet. Is it true that you can make entire armies disappear?" President Hayes nodded. Calmly, "We have defensive technologies that can protect our world from invasion. Prefer not to use them, but we will defend ourselves when necessary." The Zephyrians were known throughout the galaxy as one of the strongest military forces, said another alien who looked like a giant insect with bright green skin. "If humans can defeat them so easily, perhaps we should reconsider our own military strategies." Lisa Baker stepped forward. "Earth seeks peaceful relationships with all species. We have no interest in conquering other worlds or threatening anyone. We only want to protect our home and our people." Back on Earth, Admiral Jake Morrison had been promoted to oversee the expansion of the planet's defensive systems. Dr. Richard Park worked beside him, installing new ghost wall generators around human colonies on Mars and the Moon. "Jake, I sometimes wonder if we did the right thing," Dr. Park said as they watched the new equipment being tested.
Those
"Zephyrian crews are still trapped somewhere between realities."
ice.
Jake looked up at the stars, thinking about Admiral Kethfer and his 50,000 crew members. "They chose their fate, Richard. We gave them multiple warnings. They could have left peacefully, but they decided to threaten our entire species. Do you think they are suffering?" Jake sighed. "Probably. But how many humans would have suffered if we had let them invade Earth?" Sometimes leaders have to make hard choices to protect their people. In the depths of space, in a dimension that existed between normal reality and nothingness, Admiral Kethfer sat in his command chair on the Destroyer of Worlds. He could see the universe around him, but he could not touch anything or communicate with anyone outside his trapped fleet. His crew had tried everything to escape their dimensional prison. They had fired their weapons, tried to ram their ships into the barriers between realities, and even attempted to destroy their own ships to see if that would free them. Nothing worked. They were stuck forever, watching the galaxy continue without them. "Admiral," his science officer said with a voice full of despair, "I have been monitoring galactic communications. The humans have joined the Galactic Council. They are being treated as a major power now." Admiral Kethfer felt anger and regret in equal measure. His arrogance and refusal to listen to warnings had not only doomed his fleet, but had also elevated the humans to a position of respect and power in the galaxy. Back in the Galactic Council chamber, President Hayes was asked to address the assembly about Earth's defensive capabilities. He stood at the central podium with hundreds of alien eyes focused on him. "Fellow members of the Galactic Council," he began, "Earth has developed technology that we hoped we would never have to use. We created our defenses because we knew there were dangerous species in the galaxy who might threaten peaceful worlds. Representative from the Crystalline Confederacy raised a hand. Okay. Will humans share this technology with allied species? President Hayes shook his head. Our defensive technology is not a weapon to be shared or sold. It is a shield that protects our people. We will not give it to others, but we will also not use it against species that approach us in peace. What if other aggressive species decide to test Earth's defenses? Asked Ambassador Groth. Then they will learn the same lesson that the Zephyrians learned, President Hayes replied firmly. Earth's warnings are not empty threats. We tell someone to leave our system, we mean it. The council leader stood up again. The disappearance of the Zephyrian fleet has already changed the balance of power in this galaxy. Many aggressive species are now reconsidering their expansion plans. The example of Admiral Kethver's fate serves as a warning to anyone who might consider threatening peaceful worlds. Over the following weeks, trade agreements and diplomatic treaties poured in from across the galaxy. Species that had never spoken to humans before now wanted to establish friendly relationships with Earth. Some were motivated by fear, others by genuine respect, but all recognized that humanity had earned its place among the galactic powers. Captain Susan Mills, now promoted to Admiral, oversaw the construction of new human embassies on alien worlds. She often thought about how quickly everything had changed. 6 months ago, humans had been ignored by most of the galaxy. Of the most respected species in known space, Dr. Elizabeth Turner established scientific exchange programs with friendly alien species. The Antarians were especially eager to learn from human scientists, though they were careful not to ask about the ghost wall technology. Other species sent their best researchers to work with human universities and laboratories as Earth's influence grew. More stories spread about the fate of the Zephyrian fleet. Some aliens claimed that the missing ships could still be seen on certain nights, ghostly and transparent, serving as eternal warnings to any species that might consider threatening humanity. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Humans might appear to be a young and weak species, but they possess technology that could make the most powerful fleets simply cease to exist. More importantly, they had proven that they meant what they said when they gave warnings. In the vast emptiness of space, where the Zephyrian fleet had once been, there was now only silence and empty starlight. But in the spaces between dimensions, Admiral Kethver and his crews remained as a permanent reminder that some warnings should never be ignored. Earth had taken its place among the galactic powers, not through conquest or aggression, but by demonstrating that peaceful species could defend themselves when threatened. The message was clear to every civilization in the galaxy: approach Earth in peace, or risk disappearing forever into the spaces between worlds. 3 months had passed since the Zephyrian fleet disappeared. Earth's skies were peaceful again, but the news of what happened had spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Species that had never heard of humans before were now talking about the mysterious planet that could make entire fleets vanish. Captain Susan Mills stood on the bridge of the Earth ship Defiant, watching as a new alien fleet approached their solar system. But this time was different. These ships moved slowly and carefully. They sent peaceful messages long before they reached Earth's boundaries. Captain Mills, this is Commander Veltar, of the Antarian Republic Investigation Fleet, came a voice through the communication system. The translator made the alien's voice sound calm and respectful. We request permission to enter your system. We come in peace to investigate the disappearance of the Zephyrian collective fleet. Susan looked at her crew. Unlike the Zephyrians, these aliens had followed proper diplomatic rules. They had sent messages ahead of time, asked for permission, and identified themselves clearly. Commander Veltar, this is Captain Mills. You have permission to enter our system. Please follow the course we are sending to your navigation system, and do not cross the marked boundary zones. Understood, Captain. We thank you for your cooperation. The Antarian ships were very different from the Zephyrian warships. They were smaller, painted in bright colors, and had symbols of peace on their hulls. Instead of weapons, their ships carried scientific equipment and communication devices. Dr. Elizabeth Turner waited in the meeting room aboard the Defiant. She had worked with Dr. Park on the Ghost Wall project and had been chosen to speak with the alien investigators. She felt nervous but also excited. This was the first time humans would officially share information about their technology with friendly aliens. Commander Veltar entered the meeting room with two other Antarian officers. The aliens looked similar to humans, but had blue skin and larger eyes. They moved gracefully and spoke in soft voices. "Thank you for meeting with us, Commander," Veltar said as he sat down. The disappearance of the Zephyrian fleet has shocked the entire galaxy. 300 ships and 50,000 crew members simply vanished without any trace. Dr. Turner nodded. "I understand your concern, Commander. But we must tell you that we warned the Zephyrians multiple times to leave our system. They refused and threatened to destroy our planet." "We have reviewed the communication records," said the second Antarian officer, who introduced herself as Science Officer Nathera. "The Zephyrians were indeed aggressive and threatening. But how did your people make such a massive fleet disappear completely?" Dr. Turner chose her words carefully. She had been told to share some information but not reveal all of Earth's secrets. "We have developed a defensive technology that can shift matter into different dimensional spaces. The Zephyrian ships still exist, but not in the same reality that we live in." Commander Veltar's large eyes grew even wider. "You can move objects between dimensions? That should be impossible according to our science." "Our scientists discovered that reality has many layers," Dr. Turner explained. "Most species only see and live in one layer. Our technology can move things to other layers." Science Officer Nathera took out a small device and began recording. "Are the Zephyrian crew still alive?" Dr. Turner felt sad when she answered. "They are alive and aware. They can see normal space, but they cannot interact with it. They are trapped between realities. Can you bring them back?" Commander Veltar asked. "Possibly. But they would have to agree to leave our system immediately and never return. Since we cannot communicate with them anymore, this is not possible." The Antarians spent 2 weeks studying the area where the Zephyrian fleet had disappeared. Used their most advanced sensors and scientific equipment, but they could not find any trace of the missing ships. All they detected were strange energy patterns that their science could not explain. Captain Mills often watched the Antarian ships from her bridge. She liked these aliens. They were polite, careful, and genuinely interested in learning rather than conquering. She hoped that more alien species would be like the Antarians one day. Commander Veltar asked to speak with Earth's leaders through video communication. President Daniel Hayes, General Patricia Stone, and Dr. Richard Park all joined the call from Earth's capital. "Your technology is beyond anything we have seen in the galaxy," Commander Veltar said respectfully. "How long have humans been able to manipulate dimensional space?" Dr. Park answered carefully. "We have been working on this technology for about 50 years. It started as theoretical research, but recent advances in quantum physics made it practical." 50 years? Science Officer Nethera sounded amazed. Most species take centuries to develop such advanced science. Humans have only had space travel. For about 100 years, General Stone leaned forward. "Humans learn quickly when we need to protect ourselves. We saw that other species in the galaxy were more advanced than us, so we worked hard to develop new defenses." President Hayes spoke next. "We want you to know that Earth seeks peaceful relationships with all species. We only use our defensive technology when threatened. The Zephyrians left us no choice." Commander Veltar nodded slowly. "We understand. But you must realize that word of this technology will spread throughout the galaxy. Some species will be afraid of humans now. Are you afraid of us?" Captain Mills asked. The Antarian commander thought for a moment before answering. "Not afraid, but certainly respectful. Any species that can make entire fleets disappear deserves great respect." After the Antarians finished their investigation, they prepared to return to their home system. Commander Veltar met with Captain Mills one final time before leaving. "What will you tell the galactic community about us?" Susan asked. "The truth," Commander Veltar replied. "That humans are a peaceful but powerful species that should not be threatened. That Earth's warnings should be taken seriously by anyone who approaches your system. Will other species try to attack us to test our defenses?" Commander Veltar shook his head. I do not think so. The Zephyrians were known for being arrogant and aggressive. Most species are more careful than they were. The fate of Admiral Kethfer and his fleet will serve as a warning to anyone who might consider threatening Earth. As the Antarian ships prepared to leave, Science Officer Nathara sent a final message to Dr. Turner. Your people have created something that challenges everything we thought we knew about physics and reality. We would be honored to establish scientific exchange programs with Earth in the future. Dr. Turner smiled as she watched the peaceful alien ships depart. Perhaps some good will come from this tragedy after all. Captain Mills stood at her window and looked out at the empty space where both alien fleets had been. The Zephyrians had come as conquerors and had vanished into the spaces between worlds. The Antarians had come as investigators and were leaving as friends. Word would spread across the galaxy about what had happened at Earth. Some species would be afraid. Others would be curious, but all would remember that the humans had given a clear warning before defending themselves. The disappeared Zephyrian fleet would serve as a permanent reminder that some warnings should never be ignored. The alien fleet crossed the invisible line that Dr. Richard Park had drawn around Earth's solar system at exactly 1432 Earth time. Admiral Kethfer stood on the bridge of his flagship, a massive ship called the Destroyer of Worlds. He felt proud and confident. Soon another planet would belong to the Zephyrian Collective. Captain Jake Morrison watched from his space station as the enemy ships moved past the boundary markers. His hands were sweating, but his voice stayed calm when he spoke. To his crew, Amy, are you getting any strange readings from the alien ships? Lieutenant Amy Foster looked at her computer screen with confusion. Sir, something weird is happening. The ships are still there, but the sensors are acting strange. The readings keep changing. On board the Destroyer of Worlds, Admiral Kethfer noticed that his navigation officer looked worried. The young alien was staring at his instruments with wide eyes. What is wrong? The Admiral demanded. Sir, our location systems are not working properly. The stars look different than they should. Our communication with the other ships is getting weaker. Admiral Kethfer walked over to look at the navigation screen. The star patterns did look strange, but he thought it was just a problem with their equipment. Fix it quickly, he ordered. We have a planet to conquer. Back on Earth, Dr. Richard Park sat in a secret underground laboratory deep beneath the mountains of Colorado. He watched dozens of computer screens that showed what was happening to the alien fleet. His hands moved quickly across keyboards as he monitored the Ghostwall system. General Stone, the system is working perfectly, he reported through his headset. All 312 alien ships have entered the quantum field. General Patricia Stone stood behind him, watching the screens. What exactly is happening to them, Doctor? Dr. Park pointed to a screen that showed strange wave patterns. The ships are being shifted between different layers of reality. They still exist, but not in the same space we live in. Think of it like pages in a book. We live on page 1, but they are now on page 2, page 3, and so on. Can they get back to page 1? The general asked. Dr. Park shook his head. Not without our help. Now, the longer they stay in the other layers, the harder it becomes to bring them back. Admiral Kethfer was starting to panic. Half of his fleet had completely disappeared from his sensors. The ships that he could still see looked strange, like they were made of smoke or shadows. When he tried to contact them, only some responded, and their voices sounded far away. This is impossible, he said to his crew. Where are our ships going? His science officer, a thin alien with purple skin, was working frantically at his station. Admiral, I am detecting massive quantum distortions around our entire fleet. It is like space itself is breaking apart. Captain Morrison received a message from Dr. Park through his secure communication system. Jake, the aliens are now trapped in multiple dimensional layers. Some ships are in layer 2, others in layer 3 or 4. They cannot communicate with each other properly, and they cannot navigate back to normal space. Can they still attack Earth? Jake asked. No, they can see our reality, but they cannot touch it. They are like ghosts now, but they are still alive and aware of what is happening to them. Jake felt a mix of relief and sadness. He was glad that Earth was safe, but he did not enjoy watching anyone suffer. Even enemies who wanted to destroy his world. On the Destroyer of Worlds, Admiral Kethfer tried to contact the human space station. One more time. When Jake answered, the Admiral's voice sounded desperate and angry. "Human, what have you done to my fleet? It'd bring us back immediately." Jake looked out his window at the alien ships. He could still see some of them, but they looked transparent and ghostly. "Admiral, we warned you to leave. You chose to ignore our warning. This is impossible. No primitive species could have technology like this." "Who called us primitive?" Jake replied calmly. "That was your first mistake. Refused to listen when we told you to leave. That was your second mistake." Admiral Kethfer's voice became more frightened. "My ships are disappearing one by one. My crew is reporting that they can see through the walls of their own ships. What kind of weapon is this?" Jake felt sorry for the alien crews, but he remembered that these same aliens had planned to enslave or kill every human on Earth. "It is not a weapon, Admiral. It is a defense system. We call it Ghost Wall. Your ships are being moved to different layers of reality." "Layers of reality? That is nonsense." Dr. Park's voice came through Jake's headset. "Let me talk to him." Jake connected Dr. Park to the communication system. The scientist's voice was kind but firm when he spoke to the alien admiral. "Admiral Kethfer, this is Dr. Richard Park, the creator of the Ghost Wall system. Your ships have been shifted into parallel dimensional spaces. You are still alive, but you no longer exist in the same reality as Earth. Bring us back," the admiral demanded. "I could do that," Dr. Park said slowly, "but only if you withdraw your fleet immediately and promise never to return to our system." There was a long silence. Then Admiral Kethfer spoke again, and his voice was full of pride and anger. "The Zephyrian Collective does not retreat. You do not surrender to primitive species. Push forward. All ships continue toward the human planet." Dr. Park sighed sadly. "Then I am sorry, Admiral. You have made your choice." Boom. The remaining alien ships that were still visible began to fade away completely. One by one, they disappeared from all sensors. The crews were still alive, but they no longer existed in normal space. They were trapped forever in the spaces between realities, able to see the universe but never again able to touch it. Admiral Kethfer's final transmission was barely audible. His voice sounded like it was coming from very far away. "You done to us? We can see everything, but we cannot move. We cannot leave our ships. We cannot." The communication cut off completely. The alien fleet had vanished from all human sensors. 312 massive warships and over 50,000 alien crew members had simply ceased to exist in normal reality. Jake Morrison stood at his window and looked out at empty space, where the alien fleet had been just minutes before. The stars looked peaceful again, but he knew that somewhere in the spaces between dimensions, Admiral Kethfer and his crews were trapped forever. "Amy, send a message to Earth," Jake said quietly. "Tell them the threat is over. The alien fleet is gone." Amy Foster nodded and began typing the message. As she worked, she asked, "Captain, do you think other aliens will come looking for them?" Jake thought about that question for a long moment. "Maybe, but when they do, they will find out what happened here, and maybe they will be smart enough to listen when Earth gives them a warning." Captain Jake Morrison stood at the large window of the Earth Defense Station Meridian. He watched the stars through the thick glass and felt worried. His coffee had gone cold hours ago, but he did not care. Something big was coming toward Earth, and it was not friendly. The alarm bells had been ringing for 3 days straight. Deep space sensors picked up a massive fleet heading straight for Earth's solar system. The ships were bigger than anything humans had ever built. There were over 300 of them, all moving in perfect formation like a swarm of deadly insects. Jake turned to look at his crew. Lieutenant Amy Foster sat at her computer screen, her fingers moving fast across the keyboard. She had been tracking the alien ships since they first appeared on the sensors. Her face looked tired and scared. "How long until they reach us?" Jake asked. Amy looked up from her screen. "About 6 hours, sir. Maybe less if they speed up." Jake nodded and walked over to the communication station. Commander Lisa Baker was there, trying to talk to the alien ships. She had been sending messages for 2 days, but the aliens had ignored every attempt to communicate. Any luck with contact? Jake asked. Lisa shook her head. Nothing. They are not responding to any of our signals. It is like we do not exist to them. Just then, a loud beep came from the communication system. Everyone on the bridge turned to look at the speakers. A strange voice filled the room. It sounded cold and angry. This is Fleet Admiral Kethfer of the Zephyrian Collective. You will prepare for immediate surrender. Your planet and all its resources now belong to us. Any resistance will result in complete destruction. Lisa quickly pressed the response button. This is Commander Lisa Baker of Earth Defense. We are a peaceful species. What do you want from us? The alien voice laughed, but it was not a happy sound. Peaceful? That matters nothing to us? We have traveled far to claim this system. Your people will work in our mines and factories. Those who cannot work will be removed. Jake felt his stomach turn. The aliens were talking about slavery and murder like it was nothing special. He moved closer to the communication panel. Planet is protected by international law and galactic treaties, Lisa continued. You cannot just take our world. Your laws mean nothing to the collective, Admiral Kethfer replied. We are the strongest military force in this part of the galaxy. No one can stop us. Jake grabbed the microphone from Lisa. This is Captain Morrison. I am giving you one warning. Turn your ships around and leave our system immediately. Do not test our defenses. The alien admiral laughed again, louder this time. Your defenses? We have scanned your pathetic planet. You have a few small ships and some basic weapons. We could destroy your entire civilization in 1 hour. You're making a big mistake, Jake said firmly. Leave now while you still can. Stupid human, the admiral said with disgust. We will arrive in 6 hours. Prepare your surrender documents. The communication ended with a sharp click. The bridge fell silent, except for the quiet humming of computers and air systems. Jake walked over to his command chair and pressed a red button. Immediately, a secure line opened to Earth's secret military. Headquarters buried deep under the Rocky Mountains. This is Morrison. Connect me to General Stone right away. Within seconds, General Patricia Stone's voice came through the speakers. She sounded calm but serious. Jake, I have been watching the situation. Are they really planning to invade? Yes. Ma'am, Admiral Kethfer made it very clear. They want our planet, and they plan to enslave or kill our people. They refused our warning to leave. General Stone was quiet for a moment. How many ships? Over 300, General? Each one is the size of a small city. They have weapons we have never seen before. Understood. I am calling President Hayes. Right now, we may need to activate Project Ghostwall. Jake felt a chill run down his back. Project Ghostwall was Earth's most secret weapon. Only a few people in the entire world knew it existed. Jake was one of them because his space station would play a key role if they had to use it. Are you sure, General? Once we turn it on, there is no going back. If these aliens want to threaten our entire species, then they will learn what happens. When you ignore Earth's warnings, General Stone said coldly. Stand by for further orders. The line went dead. Jake looked around at his crew. They all had worried faces, but he could also see determination in their eyes. Humans might not have the biggest ships or the most powerful weapons, but they had something the aliens did not understand yet. Amy Foster spoke up from her station. Captain, the alien fleet just increased speed. They will be here in 4 hours now. Jake nodded. Keep tracking them. I want to know exactly where every ship is at all times. Lisa Baker moved to stand next to Jake. Do you think Project Ghostwall will really work? I mean, it has never been tested on anything this big before. Jake looked out the window again at the approaching dots of light that represented the alien fleet. Dr. Park spent 20 years developing that technology. If anyone can make it work, he can. But what if it does not work? Amy asked nervously. Jake turned to face his crew. These people had served with him for years. They trusted him to keep them safe, just like he trusted them to do their jobs when things got dangerous. Then we fight with everything we have, he said simply, but I do not think it will come to that. These aliens think they know everything about humans. They think we are weak and helpless. They are about to learn how wrong they are. 3 hours later, a new message came from Earth's government. President Hayes himself spoke to the alien fleet on all emergency channels. His voice was calm but firm. Admiral Kethfer, this is President Hayes of Earth. You have been warned multiple times to leave our system. We do not want war, but we will defend our home. This is your final chance to turn around. The alien admiral's response was swift and full of anger. Foolish human leader, we do not fear your empty threats. In 1 hour, your planet will belong to the Zephyrian Collective. President Hayes took a deep breath before speaking again. Then, you have chosen your fate. Do not say we did not warn you. Jake looked at his watch. In exactly 57 minutes, the alien fleet would cross the invisible boundary that Dr. Park had set up around Earth's solar system. After that, Admiral Kethfer and his 300 ships would discover that some warnings should never be ignored.